Despite everything that was going on in 2020, we had a great travel year. We had one more destination, San Antonio at Christmas time. I was in the middle of doing some repairs on the Pinto, so for this trip we took the Escape. However, the Pinto will be there in spirit and for inspiration on my dashboard.
Dave and Donna taking off for our Christmas trip. Long-awaited visit to San Antonio at Christmas. Leaving a little bit of snow behind.
We started off with some snowy roads, but by the time we reached St. Louis, the sun was shining on the Gateway Arch. We detoured off Interstate 44 to take an old section of Route 66. On Old Route 66 is the Uranus Fudge Factory. If you decide to come in, be sure you bring your sense of humor.
Okay, we just finished exploring Uranus, and now we're going to have some fudge from Uranus.
Here it is.
There it is. Mmm.
After a long 500-mile day, we stopped for the night at Ballard's Campground just east of Joplin, Missouri. We woke up to a cold, frosty morning. After breakfast and coffee, we traveled on Route 66 through Joplin to the state line. In Kansas, it's all about Route 66. There's a lot of fun and interesting displays, including the original truck that was the inspiration for Tow Mater from the movie Cars. Also in Kansas is the Rainbow Bridge. It is the last surviving bridge of this type, called the Marsh Arch Bridge. It was built in 1923. Just over the border in Oklahoma, you can drive on with the last remaining 9-foot wide section of pavement on Route 66. Miami, Oklahoma was the last town that we drove through on Route 66. Then they headed on US 69 south past several lakes, including Lake Eufaula, where we stopped at the state park for the night. Within the campground, there was a Christmas light display. We were on the road early and passed over the Red River into Texas and pulled into the Texas Welcome Center. Our rig did not get the message that everything's bigger in Texas. One thing that was big was the winds. Another big thing in Texas is Buc-ee's gas station and travel center. They have everything you can imagine and some things that you won't, including tasty Texas barbecue to go. Be sure to pick up some beaver buddies for a late night snack back at your camper. The roads going through Dallas were like spaghetti. With large Texas-sized forks to hold them up. In Waco, we got a lakeside campsite at a Corps of Engineers campground right underneath the mistletoe, and went to get some Texas barbecue to go. On the road this morning, we visited the Magnolia Market Silos and picked up a few Christmas gifts. In Austin, we ran into a Texas-sized traffic jam. It lasted for about 2 hours. Late in the afternoon, we finally made it to our campsite at the San Antonio KOA. It's a beautiful spot right along green space and a bike path. Tonight we took a drive through the San Antonio neighborhoods, check out the beautiful Christmas displays. Okay, we're walking up to the Alamo, right? There it is across the street. As you walk up to the Alamo, you'll notice a large white monument. The cenotaph near the entrance is a monument to the defenders of the Alamo.
So you got canister, round shot, spherical case. This was actually developed by a British artillerist. His name was Henry Shrapnel. Was his name.
So I'm just doing some repairs on clothing over here, demonstrating some early 19th century tailoring techniques. Noticed this was torn, it was missing a button, and as I start working I notice holes in the butt, which are not good.
While at the Alamo, be sure to attend one of the scheduled history talks that take place in the Calvary Courtyard. Also, for a small fee, you can go inside the Alamo Church. No photos or video are allowed inside. Being inside the church was indescribable. You have to feel it for yourself. After visiting the Alamo, we went to San Antonio's other big attraction, the Riverwalk.
Is that where you want to eat?
Had some great Texas barbecue. Watched the Riverwalk cruise tour boats go by. On our way back to the campsite, we found more Christmas lights.
Like the 5 best things to do.
How's it going, folks? My name's Captain JD. I'm going to drive you guys around in a big old circle. Anybody from San Antonio? Oh, a couple people. Who's from Texas? Raise your hand if you're from Texas. Most everybody. Is anyone not from Texas? Couple. All right. People who aren't from Texas, where are you from?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Where else? That is part of Texas, I believe. This is the Edwin Arneson Theater. The Edwin Arneson was built with the rest of the Riverwalk in 1941. This amphitheater is part of La Villita, which is in Spanish means the little village, and it's the original village of San Antonio.
Before the boat tour, we had already toured the village and had lunch there.
And so these trees, we don't actually know how old these trees are, but we can guess they're maybe between 300-400 years old or even more. The bigger ones are probably older than 400 years old. Coming up on the left-hand side, if you look up, you will see the tallest building in the United States in 1930. West of the Mississippi. This is the Tower Life building right here. This is the first skyscraper in Texas. Very angry about that. So that's why he came to San Antonio, to punish this offense. This building here, this is the Esquire Tavern. During Prohibition, this was a barber shop with the speakeasy in the back. Before the Alamo, Santa Ana raised a red flag, which meant no prisoners. A red flag meant that everyone would be executed. And the Texans, who were surrounded and outnumbered, famously, when they saw that red flag, they fired off their own cannon, which basically meant, bring it. You know, they were ready to fight. So if you ever decide to become a boat captain on the San Antonio River, learning how to maneuver around this little island is kind of the final challenge. That's your big test. It takes a lot of practice.
This morning we headed east on Interstate 10 with the destination of Holly Beach, Louisiana. But first a stop in Houston at good friends Dave and Marie, who prepared a great lunch for us. They have been inside all year because of the pandemic, and we're grateful to see friends. This is Holly Beach, Louisiana, on the shores of the Gulf of Mexico. We had planned to stay here and camp on the beach, but there had been several hurricanes that passed through this fall, and the area was really devastated, so we decided to move on. So we left Holly Beach towards St. Charles and hoping to find a spot at the Walmart there. To get there, we had to cross a ferry, the Cameron Ferry. It's been a lovely evening in the St. Charles Walmart. Now we're getting on the road and heading up to Natchez today. The camper sure had a lot of bugs on it on our drive along the Gulf Coast last night. Today we traveled mainly back roads through the bayous of Louisiana and farm fields. As we got closer to the Mississippi River, there's a complex system of levees, dams, and canals to control flooding and to provide navigation. Donna, always wanted to take the road less traveled, directed me down this gravel road. She assured me that it was a shortcut to get to Natchez. The road started along the levee, but soon dropped down into the fields. The road started getting wetter and wetter, and muddier the further we went. The worst spots I didn't even film. I was concentrating on getting through the ruts in the mud and not getting stuck. I was relieved when the road finally turned away from the fields and back up onto the levee where it was nice and dry. But then I spotted something up in the distance in the middle of the road. That something turned out to be a gate with a padlock on it. Luckily for us, the padlock wasn't locked. Well, apparently, we were on this road that was closed, but I think we're on the legal side now. You go lock it. You didn't know it was closed, right?
No, I didn't. And plus, right now, coming this way, private road, only available. It didn't say that.
It didn't say it on the other side, no. It just said you couldn't haul on the levees, all it said. So, oh well. Okay,
we're good.
Now go find the car wash in Natchez.
Yep. Look how much dirt is in those pits. Maybe go to that far one. Isn't that funny? You are not the only one getting dirt off your car. Oh my God, I've never seen a car wash. Clumps of mud.
Crossed the Mississippi River Bridge into Natchez, Mississippi, and from there we just headed straight to our campsite to set up. The next day we explored Natchez and the Mississippi River, and as it was Christmas Eve, Donna was really getting into the Christmas spirit. Before heading back to the camp, we stopped at the donut shop to bring back a dozen fresh tamales.
It's Christmas morning and we are on the road again. Whoa, bouncy, bouncy road. Heading up the Natchez Trace and hopefully make a few stops. Christmas Day, not a lot of the stuff's going to be open, but we're still going to enjoy the beauty of it. Yeah.
I got to watch more.
Oh, you do? Okay, back to you guys. Bye-bye.
We were up early Christmas morning to travel the Natchez Trace Parkway. The parkway goes from Natchez, Mississippi to Nashville, Tennessee. 444-mile long national park with many historic sites along the way. The first site we stopped at was Emerald Mound. It is the second largest American Indian mound in the U.S. There is a paved walkway making it an easy walk to the top. Our next stop was the Sunken Trace. There are several of these along the route. It's an area where the trace was used and just eroded away. Don and I took a stroll on this part of the trace, imagining what it was like for the early pioneers. Several times.
Some people might have,
The next stop is Owens Creek Waterfall. Been by a lot of destruction, all these trees down and stuff, so I'm not sure if it's a tornado, the hurricane, something was down here. Okay, stay here. Just a little further up, we spent the night at Jeff Busby Campground, one of the many free campgrounds along the trace. This one was limited to self-contained only as the bathrooms were closed because of COVID. Just behind the campground is a short drive up to Little Mountain Viewpoint.
Wow, it is a really pretty view.
We got back on the parkway heading north, past the fields white with frost in the 21-degree air. In Tupelo, we got off the parkway to visit the birthplace of Elvis. Swinging in on Elvis's front porch.
It's a beautiful place to sing.
Our last bit on the trace was crossing the Tennessee River at Colbert Stand. George Colbert operated a ferry here from 1800 to 1819. No need for a ferry today. A modern 2-lane bridge now crosses the Tennessee River. After crossing the Tennessee River, we traveled the back roads of Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky, spending the night in Paducah. In the morning, we crossed the Ohio River into Illinois and made it home later that afternoon. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video. Thank you.